King of the Ring begins on Raw. Drew McIntyre is out, at least injured. Punk makes an appearance. And is the Judgment Day back on track, or is things not all the way it seems? We'll review that straight away on Monday Night Raw on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Raw kicked off this week. Great recap of the fantastic events that happened over in France this past weekend. Awesome SmackDown, great pay-per-view. The crowd made it. But we're back now. Rosters are locked. And now we get to the new era of Monday Night Raw with its new, freshened up to a degree roster. Now, Judgment Day starts Monday Night Raw with Damian Priest basically apologizing, about having a go at Finn and JD for getting involved in a title match. I kind of felt that apology felt a little forced from Damian Priest. It was more of an assertion of the champion genuinely sorry for Hulk, rather than sort of, felt forced like a formality, then rather than the assertion of a champion generally being sorry for holding them accountable, that kind of thing. We then turned their attentions to King of the Ring. Now, Finn Balor was due to take on Drew McIntyre in the King of the Ring qualifier on Raw. Adam Pearce had said that Drew McIntyre was not medically cleared to compete tonight, so he was out of the King of the Ring tournament. Finn Balor kind of actively looked like he had a bye in the round. He was getting all cocky, thinking he was already through. However, Adam Pearce had other ideas, and the man that they got to replace Drew McIntyre was main event Jey Uso. The place absolutely exploded for that guy. He is so over right now. Is it something that the WWE need to capitalize on while he's hot though? Remember LA Knight, he lost that momentum since, not being able to capture any gold on SmackDown. But is it time for them to pull the trigger on Jey Uso? Guys, let us know in the comments below. However, yes, Jey Uso, Finn Balor on Raw for the King of the Ring qualifying match. And it was straight away. Actually, that match started straight away. An eventful, this whole thing was like half an hour from the promo to the match to the end. And it was really, every minute of it felt like it was enhancing the story of what they're trying to tell, and it was a really good beginning to it. Jey Uso picking up the victory for it, and goes on to the next round of King of the Ring, and he faces either the winner of Elijah Dragunov and Ricochet a bit later on. I mean, they don't keep stopping. One of the funny things, a line on from Pat McAfee on commentary, he got yeeted in the mouth. So, don't know. I don't know. Now they go backstage at this point. McIntyre's not happy. He leaves the building, and as he leaves the building in a car, off comes CM Punk, who has been trapped in WWE HQ for a few days. I mean, he cut a hugely scathing promo on McIntyre on this one. He threatened to run overtime, hold the show hostage until McIntyre returned. It was quite funny because he was saying that during this promo, how everyone should get on X and tweet him and stuff like even McAfee should get on X and tweet McIntyre to say that CM Punk's here looking for you and all of this stuff, which was really, really good. Yeah, basically he was going to hold the show hostage till McIntyre returned and fight him. He even says, Drew McIntyre, do you hate me or do you hate yourself? Which was an interesting line. He did bring up the Jack Perry stuff again, which, he said he's a choke artist, not like I'm a choke artist, right, Pat? Appearing to reference the choke. That's a bit unnecessary. It's not really needed. I mean, we have this a lot now where you get into the bit where, people are being childish. Well, they said it, so why can't AEW say it? And they're right. If you keep on mentioning the same stuff, just get over it. It's done. It's dusted. Just concentrate on this feud with McIntyre, which is really good. He does also then say that he will be at Clash of the Castle, and if McIntyre has any balls, he will show up to fight him at Clash of the Castle. Now, that could be CM Punk walking into enemy territory at Clash of the Castle. That could be amazing in June. What a showcase that would be for Glasgow. I mean, it might help with the ticket prices being so steep, but yeah, that would be very, very interesting to say the least. Queen of the Ring qualifiers now. Natalia versus Io Sky. Damage Control kicking off their return to Monday Night Raw on a full-time basis now, being in the draft. It was a strong match. It highlighted both women. Io Sky did benefit from some interference from Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane, but mostly a fair contest. There was a big fight back from Natalia, only for Dakota Kai's distraction again to cost her the win. And after the match, Dakota did mention Becky Lynch potentially planting the seeds for a feud between her and the faction during the summer. So Io Sky beats Natalia and carries on and goes on to the next round. It was quite good through in this. There was Sky used the ropes to hang up Natalia, breaking a waist lock, which was a good spot. Natty is still an amazing, amazing worker. Who she belongs on TV. She belongs everywhere. She belongs in a championship, really. But a point of note after Dakota Kai did mention that Asuka is injured and she will be standing in for the Empress against Laya Valkyria later on the night. So that's interesting. Not quite sure because they didn't advertise that Asuka was out. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, if that was a change made before they went out or if that was the plan all along. Now, Elijah Dragunov Ricochet in the King of the Ring match. This was unbelievable. He introduced himself as well, which was quite good. Dragunov introduced himself to those that are unfamiliar with his work. And, he done that in an extraordinary match with Ricochet in the opening. And this was an opening round match, for goodness sake, of the King of the Ring tournament. The Mad Dragon himself did use intense strikes to cut off the high flying Ricochet, which is great. And it was just so good for this. This may sound like a hot take, and mainly one that may raise a few eyebrows in the world of internet land, but I think Dragonov is one of the best in the world at what he does. I really honestly believe that. I truly think that he could hang with anybody. Put him in the ring he could hang with anyone. There was a great Hurricane Run off the top rope, actually, that Ricochet done during this was as well. Sorry, and then there was a point where Ricochet, Dragunov caught a moonsault in Ricochet with a chop to the chest. I mean, you want to hear it. However, Dragunov beats Ricochet and goes on, and he will face Jey Uso. I think maybe next week on Raw. Point of note: Ricochet's gone on to WWE. He had an interview backstage after. Not sure it aired on Raw, saying that something's got to change with him now. Are they hinting at a heel turn for Ricochet? Could that happen? Is it possible? Who knows? I will say this: Raw delivered a hell of a lot of matches this week. Now, sometimes on a 3 hour Raw, you could get 3 matches, 4 matches if you're lucky. They delivered 6, 7 matches on Raw this week of good quality as well. Speaking of the next match on Raw, Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, first round match. This, these two are incredibly gifted. The only thing I would say on this is I don't think the chemistry was there, and a little bit of inexperience on both showed at times during this match. What happens is sometimes these spots that they do just take a little too long to take, and the execution sometimes wasn't always there. If you watch wrestling, like I'm pretty sad how I watch it. I kind of tunnel vision and watch as they make these spots up and do things like that. And I just felt they were taking a little too long, and the spots were a little bit iffy. There wasn't perfect. You're not going to get perfect spots every time. I understand that, but I just felt as if both of these women this match would have been better, maybe in a couple of weeks, in giving them more time on TV wrestling rather than just walking around with Shayna Baszler or walking around with Diamond Mine and things like that. So I do think they've been let down, not necessarily in themselves, but with the way that they're not being given an opportunity to carry on wrestling. Because if you wrestle consistently on a consistent basis, week in, week out on television as well, not talking house shows, on television, you do get a bit more quicker in your spots. They're a bit more crisper executed because you're doing it over and over again over a course of weeks. So I do feel as if they were let down a little bit by the fact that they're not showing on TV enough. But Zoe Stark with a Z360 wins the match. I mean, there was a high risk spot actually, and this is one of the things I was saying about earlier. She tried a top rope waist lock, teasing a high risk, but the setup took too long, and we never actually got it. I felt as if the effort between these two was there, but the chemistry was just not quite where we needed to be. Incidentally, another Uncle Howdy QR code, not at this point, but during Raw. Bring it together in the next video. Go and check it out. It is very, very good indeed. I loved it. Bronson Reed and Chad Gable was next. Bronson was fueled by vengeance after his shot at the Intercontinental Championship was ruined by Gable. And so he battles Chad in singles competition. As the action really started to intensify in the ring, Sami Zayn come out. He attacked Gable because obviously Gable attacked Sami, so that, in front of his family. So there was a lot of rage within Sami. The brawl between that Sami and Gable ended with actually Bronson Reed attacking both men and leaving them laying. This kind of hints at a three-way triple threat match between Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, and Sami Zayn being a Continental Championship, maybe a King of the Ring as well. But quite a few bits of this match was that Gable delivered an exploder off the top rope that was as terrifying as it was impressive. You need to see it. There was a bit backstage actually after this where Carlito pitched to Damian Priest. Carlito preached to Damian Priest about a mutually beneficial partnership between him and the Judgment Day. If you remember, Carlito was the attacker of Dragon Lee of the LWO. He was shown to be the attacker and took Dragon Lee out of the WrestleMania match, which coincidentally, where Carlito thought he was going to be chosen, Rey Mysterio chose Andrade El Idolo, who is now drafted to SmackDown, which is kind of weird, but the LWO are on Raw. Really good package actually of Live Akira aired as well just after this match, and it was ahead of her Queen of the Ring match actually. Becky Lynch was joined by Michael Cole in a sit down. Lynch put over the Young Stars before being interrupted by Liv Morgan, still on her revenge tour. They really had a bit of a tense back and forth here that saw Liv Morgan reveal her purpose, taking everything away from Rhea Ripley and winning the World Women's Championship. To do that, she has to beat Becky Lynch at King of the Ring on May the 25th. Now, at this point, Damage Control did circle the ring. Now, Morgan and Lynch were sort of side by side at this point. Morgan then left the ring, which was leaving Becky on her own and kind of saying that's a you problem. It's not my problem, it's a you problem to Becky, which is quite funny. At that point, so Becky just decided to go for it, but she was assisted by Lara Valkyria, made the save, and actually setting up the next match, which is obviously Lara Valkyria's match, which we'll get to against Dakota Kai in a second. Funny enough, Lynch did put over Alba Fire as the longest reigning women's champion in modern WWE. And she did put over Valkyria as the most gifted women's wrestler she had been in the ring with, which is interesting. Liv Morgan did also put onto this that she realized what she was missing, which is a purpose, and she's found it now, and that's winning the women's championship. As I said, Lara Valkyria come out to ringside, and this made to a match with Dakota Kai, which was really, really good. Valkyria wasted no time in establishing herself on the main roster, to be honest with you, by coming to the aid of Becky Lynch, and they continued the trend of the night, which was quality in-ring action, with these two with a combative match and competitive match as well. And I think personally, this was Dakota Kai one of her best performances on the roster today. If I'm being since her NXT days, I think this was right up there with one of her best performances that she's done. She did win. Lara Valkyria did win with the Night Wing to secure the victory and set up a match with Zoe Stark, which is nice. But I think if I'm a betting man, I think Valkyria gets very, very close to the finals of this competition, to be quite honest with you. There was the good sign actually also in this match was a "Let's Go Lyra" chants from the crowd. Like that proves that she's doing the job, and that's a good thing. Hopefully they can build on that herself. Not only she can build up, and WWE can build on those chants being heard, and to then start creating something with her. I really hope so, because you've got to take advantage of this. I always find, especially with the women, if you don't pull that trigger, you don't take advantage when it's there, it does go, and it could be an opportunity for WWE to get back and get her back in, or get her up there with the women's in the women's division. There was a promo by Sami Zayn. He did challenge Bronson Reed and Chad Gable to that triple threat match at the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament in Saudi Arabia. It'd be very interesting to see where that one goes. There was a few matches that didn't air. Kofi Kingston was one of them. He was meant to take on Rey Mysterio. That is happening this weekend, apparently at a house show, as a couple of other matches are as well from the King of the Ring that didn't air this week on Raw. That was scheduled, I believe, to air this week on Raw, but did not. And they will be taking control of over at the weekend's house shows. So one of the greatest, hardest hitting rivals in pro wrestling reignited on Monday in the main event. Sheamus, Gunter, they pummeled each other from the opening bell, literally pummeled each other. There was interference from Ludwig Kaiser that targeted the knee of Sheamus, and put Sheamus on the defensive for the majority of the match. By the way, Sheamus is getting back into shape. A lot of people body shamed him when he was back. He's very, very close to getting that shape back that you would all imagine Sheamus should, well, not should be, but would be in. So it's good to see Sheamus proving a lot of people wrong in that sense and giving them the big cough, as he should. And that this match was great because when Ludwig Kaiser put the beats on Sheamus's knee, the ring general Gunter then picks that knee. And I love that because it was a target. And every time Sheamus got the momentum, every single time, he went straight back to the knee. And that is such good ring psychology being used there. This was a classic physical encounter. Just two people are beating shit out of each other, really. Obviously, Kaiser interference did set up Gunter winning the match by a half crab in the end. That the pain was too much in the end to come by, unfortunately, on the knee. But if you look at their chests, they're like beetroot at the end of this. And the camera caught a clear handprint on Sheamus's shoulder, which really highlights the physicality of this match. And do you know what? This was a really good episode of Raw. And to be honest, it was one of the better post WrestleMania 40 episodes, I think, of Raw in a long, long time. Good in ring quality. It was up and down the card, strong, strong, strong. And I really enjoyed the in-ring action. When you on top of that, you had the CM Punk stuff and the Chad Gable bits, nice little bits in between to break up the King of the Ring. It was a really strong episode of Monday Night Raw. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A good 8.5 out of 10 for me on this one. Friday night on SmackDown is going to be main evented by Randy Orton versus AJ Styles in a King of the Ring first round match. Hold on to your hats, folks. The WWE are producing some great television this week by the sounds of it. You won't want to miss it. We won't miss it. And we'll be back to review it on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. This has been the Monday Night Raw review on the channel with me, your host, Adam Cousins. Until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.